The trial of Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and former CEO of FTX, is set to start on October 3rd. The 31-year-old is accused of committing wire fraud and conspiracy to commit other types of fraud during his time leading the crypto exchange before its dramatic collapse last year. What are the chances of him being found guilty of those charges?
Even though each of these charges, if you look at the DOJ press release, says, it contains a maximum sentence of 20 years or 5 years, whatever, it's not going to be consecutive, it'll be concurrent. So the estimate I'm getting from various attorneys that I've spoken to over the past few weeks is probably be somewhere in the 10 to 20 year range.
Why is jury selection so important? In this case, whether the jury knows anything about FTX or crypto may have huge implications for the prosecution and defense.
It'll be interesting because we'll see a potentially large jury pool of people who aren't familiar with crypto, again, on one of the biggest, weighing in on one of the biggest figures in the space.
You don't pick your jurors. You get a pool of people and you have a certain number of strikes. And so really what you're doing is picking the worst apples and deselecting them, and you're stuck with what you're left with. And so it's really, I think when trial lawyers do jury selection in a criminal case, they think about who are the people I have to get rid of? Who can I not have on the jury?
Testimony from key witnesses like former CEO of Alameda, Caroline Ellison, former FTX executive Gary Wang, and former FTX engineering director Nishad Singh could have huge sway in the case.
I think we're going to probably hear from them, how FTX might have fallen apart. I know from court filings, we know that DOJ wants to ask Caroline Ellison about the FTT token and allegations that Sam Bankman-Fried was directly involved in trying to, argue for Alameda to take a large sum of it and to potentially allegedly manipulate the price.
What's to come from the defense and prosecution's opening statements?
These are the lawyers' attempt to give you a preview of what to expect. What the lawyers say is not evidence, and some rules of the road, some general rules of the road, and that's common. What Judge Kaplan does that's unique, he doesn't do it in every case, but he has done it in some criminal cases where it's complicated, is he will hone in on what he thinks is a key issue in the case.
Will Sam Bankman-Fried testify? Here's why that may be a dangerous move to make.
When the defendant testifies, the entire trial changes. It's whether we like it or, the judge will instruct the jury that under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, the defendant has no burden and does not have to testify against themselves or incriminate themselves. It's always the government's burden to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But regardless, the defendant takes the stand. The jury is not, it's just human nature. They're not going to think about, did the government prove it anymore? They're going to think about, do I believe this guy?
Keep an eye on Unchained's coverage of the trial. We will be sharing updates on all of our platforms. Thanks for watching.